Mr. Lipson, I want to follow up on your point in your testimony. You note that the National Organic Program, and I assume the National Organic Standards Board, are wrestling with regulatory questions where research could assist in forming these regulatory responses. Can you expand on that point?
Yes, sir. One example is the effort right now to develop regulations for pasture requirements for organic dairy animals. There's a great deal of difficulty that the program is having in figuring out how to define in an enforceable way what's adequate nutrition from pasture in order to write a regulation that meets the spirit and letter of the 1990 law. In order to do that, they're relying primarily on anecdotal information from the producers who have a very sophisticated idea of how those requirements can be met, but in order for the regulatory program to put that into a legalistic framework, they are straining to find scientific data that backs them up and gives them a strong legal foundation for making those changes. Now, there's good work in the pipeline, in the research pipeline now being done that could help with that, but it's coming very late in the process. There are other issues such as production of organic seed in order to meet a full enforcement of the organic seed requirement. A whole number of areas where there just isn't yet good scientific information that an agency typically would rely on in writing these regulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll now call.
Just kind of go down there, but obviously one of the things that is important is the certification process and the enforcement process, if you're going to have a certification process and the enforcement. What is the general consensus right now, how that process is working both from the certification side and the enforcement side? And Mr. Lipson, we'll start down on your side and we'll move to your right.
The certification and accreditation program run by USDA is the standard for the world. There's no question about that. And the integrity that has been built is absolutely critical to the consumer demand. But the system is strained. It's being strained by growth right now, and the very understaffed condition of that program just is a complete bottleneck for the rulemaking that everybody needs to have out in the open in order to maintain that consumer confidence.
So is it the rules, or is it just the ability to get certain products certified?
Well, it is both. There are parts of the standards that are incompletely implemented. The pasture and grazing requirements for dairy animals is probably the biggest one on the table right now. But there are other areas of the standards, aquaculture, honeybees, mushrooms, where there isn't even a standard, even a draft rule yet in place. And so there's years worth of work stacked up that the National Organic Program simply does not have the staff to address in a timely way.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, the baseline for a robust, diversified, local food economy is going to have to be organic. The local environmental impacts, the interaction between the community and the farm, if we're going to keep building this movement for local food, having that production based on local inputs for fertility and a healthy environment, doing the pest management, that's just going to be the baseline of those kinds of systems.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Two areas, each one of you, just two areas that this subcommittee should kind of prioritize for the furtherance of organic agriculture. What would they be? We'll start with Mr. Lipson.
It's very clear that research and extension are the limiting factors to growth. It has all these secondary impacts that I've tried to outline. I think that's going to be the biggest payoff for investing resources.
Okay. Ms. James?
I'm wondering if there's a program, if you're thinking of one on the conversion, if it should be a sliding scale in, should it be by different product, so not everybody switches within a certain market, the price comes down, those that got in before conversion are somehow penalized because government helped in another. Has anyone put any thought to, if you say conversion, a program for conversion?
Mr. McCarthy, the strategy that we need is one that takes regional resources in terms of research and extension and market development, looks at the specific opportunities that match markets to production capacities, and puts together that puzzle in terms of a diversified approach to conversion in an area. In California, there's obviously huge trade opportunities in the Pacific Rim. You know, we do have a long way to go towards fulfilling the domestic growth in demand, but there are very important opportunities in international trade as well. And those can be matched up with production capacities, but it's going to be different in every region of the country. So what we need is a strategy that, like they're doing in Woodbury County, takes all the pieces in terms of market development and technical information, local demand, as well as export opportunities, and tries to craft a strategy that way.
And so, I understand the whole matrix you do, but would you pick all products can converge over, or by regionally you would say which ones, by market size?
Well, I think there's definitely, with more market analysis, we'd have better information about how much room there is to grow in different areas. I mean,
so prior to doing any conversion, the number one would do the data and the market analysis.
Well,
yeah, we need business plans,
right,
for sure, and you got to have good data in order to be able to build those.